So hey guys, this is Epic Gaming or Epic Music, whatever you want to call me. And I'm doing an album review of Linkin Park's One More Light. I did get the CD. I was able to get the CD of it. And I figured it would be a good album to review considering it's actually kind of controversial in the rock world right now. It's a big step in a different direction for Linkin Park, but I don't necessarily think it's that bad. I think there's a lot of kind of biased reviews of this album on YouTube or on just certain reviews I've read of the album saying, "Oh, it's not like the Hybrid Theory Meteor." But you gotta keep in mind here, Linkin Park has moved on from nu metal. Nu metal is a dead genre and was never really that good to begin with of a genre. It did give the rise of some good bands, but again, most of those bands evolved, and the ones that didn't ended up falling flat. We're talking stuff like Nickelback, Puddle of Mud, Limp Bizkit. I mean, that's nu metal. That was a thing, but if you look back at it, maybe it wasn't as good as people remember. But this album is definitely more of a EDM or soft rock. I don't consider it pop because it sounds a lot different from what's on the radio nowadays, and I don't really think most radio stations would really play it. I feel like rock stations would because it's Linkin Park. I don't think this is a sellout. I think this is Linkin Park trying something new, and they've done that before. A Thousand Suns, honestly, I think is worse than this album. I think this isn't their worst album. And I'm going to explain why when I review each of the songs. So let's get to the first song, Nobody Can Save Me. The first track, I will admit, is a bit of a dud. It's slow, and I get it's more of a ballady kind of slow intro song to what you'll be hearing on the album. I don't care for it. Chester's vocals are good enough, but I mean, it kind of falls flat for me. Um, in terms of just everything, it's just kind of meh. There's not a whole lot of depth. Track 2 is Good Goodbye, featuring Pusha T and Stormzy. As much as people say, whoa, this sounds like the rap you hear on the radio, keep in mind Mike Shinoda is also part of Fort Minor, a rap group. Songs like Remember the Name, and stuff like that. They're a good rap group, and he actually has done some really good stuff. And I actually personally don't mind some rap that's on the radio as well. But I will say this is a pretty good song, actually. Chester's chorus is pretty well done. Mike's verse, which is sadly the only rapping we get of him on this album. Luckily, it's some of the best of his rapping we've heard since the days of, honestly, Meteora. It's pretty good, actually. This is great rap for Mike, the verse he does. And the featuring of Pusha T, I think, is really good. Pusha T also did a song with Gorillaz recently, so he's been kind of doing some featuring tracks with bands that are making a comeback, and I think that's pretty cool. Pusha T's actually a really good rapper, and I like his stuff, so I think he's a good feature. I would say maybe have Mike rap 2 verses and Pusha T rap 1, but again, they have Stormzy on this track. I've actually never heard of Stormzy before. He's not that big of a rapper, from what I assume. His verse is good enough, but I don't really think it's necessary, and I don't care for it. It sounds, it's just, yeah, it's more, I don't like the mumble rap. It's kind of, yeah, it's just meh. It doesn't really work with this song. The next song, track 3, is Talking to Myself, which is probably the best taste of, well, the first breath of fresh air for people that like the older Linkin Park sound. This song sounds a lot like something you would hear on Living Things, presumably Burn It Down, Lost in the Echo. There's a lot of songs on Living Things that sound like this song. And I say that because this song is the only real song on the album where you actually get an audible riff of electric guitar, which I think is pretty good and well kind of put into the song. I think it's good. And there's also a little outro at the end with acoustic guitar, which you'll hear more acoustic with other songs like Sharp Edges and stuff later on this album. This song is pretty good. It's got actually really good vocals by Chester. In fact, again, some of the best vocals I've heard of Chester in recent days. And it's also a good song, mainly just because it sounds like other stuff we've heard from Linkin Park before. The next song, track 4, is Battle Symphony. This was one of the 3 pre-released songs before the full album came out in May. And I initially thought this song was pretty good, and still do. It's not the greatest. Some of the lyrics are a little cheesy, and I don't like the Alvin and the Chipmunks sound that's kind of in the background. It's kind of weird. I don't like that at all. I don't know why and that's in a couple other songs on this album too, like Good Goodbye. I really don't care for that. Some of the lyrics are kind of tacky, and it's just kind of somewhat meh. But I like it because again, it sounds like something on an older Linkin Park album, like A Thousand Suns, Minutes to Midnight, Living Things, something like that. And I actually don't mind this song that much. I think it's actually pretty well done. The next song on this album is Invisible. Mike is mainly known for his rap, but he sings pretty good in this song. I personally don't care for this one. It's kind of a dud. It's a little slow. I get it's written, it's well written. I mean, the lyrics are pretty good, and it's a nice song, a relaxing song, but I just don't care for it. And I feel like it would have been a little better with Chester's vocals as well. The next song, which was I'd have to check that, is actually track 6. This is only a 10-track album. It's actually Linkin Park's shortest album. But this song, Heavy, featuring Kiara, was what made people really mad. And I'm not going to lie, I actually hate this song. The first time I heard Heavy, I was like, okay. And then I listened to it again and again, and it just got worse for me. Chester's vocals are actually really bad in this song. He sounds like he's straining, and it sounds not good. Chester is just trying too hard with this song. I think if he just sings his normal way, it would sound so much better. And Kiara is a terrible featuring for Linkin Park. I didn't realize this, but her main song she did last year, or a couple years ago, Gold. I hated that song when it was on the radio. It's barely even audible. Like, you can't even understand what it's saying. And when I figured out that she made one of my least favorite songs of last year or whenever it came out, that made me a little bit mad, considering she was doing a song with Linkin Park, my favorite band. That was kind of a blow to me. And if you haven't heard Kiara Gold, listen to it. It's not that good of a song. Her voice is definitely good. And she's definitely talented enough, but just not to do a feature with Linkin Park. She could do a feature with someone else. It just doesn't work in this general scenario. But again, Chester and Kiara do have pretty good vocals. The next song, track 7, is Sorry for Now. This was a song, it was a slower song, but it had a personal meaning with the band. So I'm not gonna, down on their song. It's, again, just like an average song. It's not that bad. It could be worse. It kind of just sounds like a mellower thing on their older album. It's honestly not that bad. The next song, track 8, is One More Light. One More Light is a really emotional and really powerful song. It's probably my second favorite, or third favorite, probably second favorite song on this album. It's really meaningful. The vocals are great. It's powerful. And it's definitely a standout. And I know a lot of people who don't like this album, but have said that they really like this song in particular. It's a really good song. I would recommend listening to it. If you haven't listened to any of the album and are hesitant to, start with this song. It's really good. And I think really anyone would like it, and even Linkin Park fans that don't care for this album, I think would really like this song. And track 10 is Sharp Edges. This song is kind of a more lighthearted, kind of upbeat, kind of acoustic song. It's decent enough. It's not one of the best songs on the album, but it's definitely got good because it has some acoustic guitar riffs in it. And Chester's vocals are actually pretty good in this song as well. Yeah, so that's this album. It's pretty short, so there's not a whole lot. This video is pretty short compared to my Skillet Unleashed in my next video, which is a review of 21 Pilots' Blurryface, which will probably be 3 parts because the album has about 14 to 15 tracks. I think 14. And I want to go through each one because I really like that album a lot, as I like this. But if I were to give this album a grade, I'd give it a C because it's average. It's not the worst thing I've heard from Linkin Park, but it's not their best. If they're gonna stay like this, I honestly don't really care. I think it sounds decent enough. Just make more songs like Talking to Myself, Good Goodbye, and One More Light, and stick with that kind of formula. But overall, I'd give it a C. It's a pretty average album. It's honestly not as bad as people say it is. I would recommend listening to it.